I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you so much for joining me here again on this wonderful day. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate you sharing this time with me and being the other side of infinity with me. Like that's the trip I've been in for a while now, pretty much since Friday. I've been thinking about infinity. Infinity attached with duality. Ryu, you're so early today, my friend. I think you might be the very first person to tune into stream within the first 40 seconds. I appreciate you. Thank you. Genuinely, thank you for joining me. Just for you, Rio, maybe it's going to be me and you. I'm going to read you something worth saying. Opened on this one. What creates experience is how you decide to view the events that come up in your life. I have been trying to view things that come up in my life from this perspective, this point, this position of infinity. Quite literally, being one side of infinity and you being the other, or whatever it is you're looking at, being the other side of infinity. And it's a trip. The stuff I've been thinking, I actually recreated the Meltmore logo, and it's not just an infinity sign, but a sharp one for two M's that basically got attached to one another. And I have like these multiple different attachments to it. One of them, they're both triangles, obviously, so it indicates slash signifies this as above, so below type of understanding. Secondly, obviously, an infinity symbol, never ending. Then if you tip it over, it's a little clock, again, this analogy for time and the passing thereof. But the genuine feeling I've been having of it is from this perspective of eyes. Two eyes looking at one another, me and you as I, looking at one another, being these nodes, if you will, of infinity, and us sharing this moment, this experience, this back and forth with one another. We're creating something. We are setting into motion, rather, the ability to become aware of the infinity we're in right now. And it's been a little bit much, because ever since I've tried to try to take this type of understanding rather into my daily existence, my dreams have just been rampant with that. So I was trying to explain to Christian this morning. Me and him wake up early, we sit down, we have conversations before he has to head to work. We talk about our dreams, we've been talking about an ex-relationship of Christian that he's been having trouble with. We have all of these really good conversations first thing in the morning, just to help us kind of get into the run of things, if you will. And I've been having these dreams of infinity. I'm thoroughly convinced slash understanding of the fact that I'm within a dream state. But within this dream state, I'm looking upon other beings, or parts of myself, I guess, and seeing infinity unfolding behind them. So quite literally, like in this way that I understand, for instance, the sharp infinity symbol. I don't have a pen with me now. Didn't think I'd need one. Maybe I'll just do a little illustration. These two pillars is the thing that keeps like coming back in my dream. Is the fact that the observer, you, is one side of this pillar, and then whatever it is I'm viewing is the other side of that pillar. And there is this back and forth recognition of infinity, part of infinity, looking at another part of infinity, and then this need, this co-relationship, this associative relationship with one another, to be there, to be all of existence, and to be the observer thereof. Otherwise, neither of them exist, or neither of them have any means to exist. And then I dream these things, and then this idea, this feeling, this understanding is represented within another person. So, for instance, I can't even properly remember these dreams, but I had this dream last night where I was in some sort of romantic dance with the divine feminine, and I couldn't properly see her face. I wasn't looking at her body. I couldn't even make out what she was wearing, but I recognized her as this other side of infinity. And behind her, that's that's probably why I couldn't even recognize her. Behind her, as this like line, as this node of infinity, things were opening up behind her as like a blossoming, if you will. But instead of just petals blossoming, reality actually fractured into pieces and gets pulled back. And then there is a new exposed piece of reality underneath that reality. And then that piece breaks off and then gets exposed back. And this is happening with millions of petals all around her. And it keeps going, like until it no longer is in my field of vision. Just this expanding, pedaling of this being. And I'm in this dream state, and I'm seeing this being, and I'm recognizing what I'm seeing. I'm like, oh yeah, of course, yes, you know, and I'm just like baffled. I'm absolutely baffled. I'm in love, but I'm shocked. Because we're both sides of the infinity, we're these stable slash stationary slash dualistic understandings, but then it comes together. You know, we get as close as we possibly can within this loop of infinity, and then we have to be torn apart again. Okay, I think I'm done. Maybe I'm done. Let me read Ryu's comments before I continue on. Interesting. I need to look more into that kind of stuff. I don't know too much about infinity, but I fully agree with you. Ryu, infinity is everywhere. It's literally everywhere. You know, we don't properly understand infinity because we don't even recognize ourselves as these infinite beings. The amount of molecules that make us up, the amount of depth, the amount of information. For instance, let's talk about lenses or ways of viewing or eyes. You know, let's imagine you can have an eye that could be shrink down to like the molecule level. So you can, as an observer, look at entire atoms. You know, that would be an experience. That would be such an experience. And in that way, you could then travel to any part within your body and access, if you will, an infinite amount of experience. And it's just here. It's being rendered, it's being made up, it's being done. We're just kind of unaware of it because we don't have the means to process all of that information. It sounds like a really something beautiful to see and scary at the same time. It wasn't scary, Ryu, it was overwhelming. And as a result of the overwhelming nature of it, I'm not allowed to remember much. And I understand, you know, just like being aware of that as well. Man, I'm just already far behind. Sorry, friends. I'm like, they're ranting already. Tate, namaste. Thank you for joining me, my beloved brother. It's so nice to see you again. Jasmine, I was thinking about you so much, as I was thinking about you as well, Naren. Especially since you friends were yesterday. Especially since you friends were there yesterday when we were doing the guided meditation thing. That has been like sticking with me as well, actually, Jasmine. Again, with this whole, you know, both sides of infinity. That's exactly the same thing that we do as well. Both of us sitting in the same space, going rather through a guided meditation, is this awareness of these sides of infinity. And by becoming aware of our sides of infinity, I believe the potential space, the potential infinite growth that is available within the space actually comes into fruition. I'll have to go now, but it was great sharing the space with you once again. See you next stream, man. Ryu, thank you, friend. I love you. I'll see you again next time. Thank you for joining us for as long as you did. I am going to get something to make that door shut up because there's a little bit of wind jiggly. That should be good. What, dear antlers? If you can tell me, friend, I'll be glad. I sometimes ask myself that same question. What is right? No outside background today? No, my green screen has officially broken, unfortunately. Thank you for joining me though. Melty, how do you have a dream of infinity? Like I tried to explain some of it, dear Antler. I don't know if it helped. Like I don't even know properly how to explain it. But when I'm in that dream state, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, infinity. I see. I'm looking into infinity, and I have no problem with it. I have no objections. Like, wait a second, hold up, this isn't normal. My brain just is like, yes, okay, cool. Oh yes, fractaling. Oh okay, the universe is breaking apart. Neat, interesting. And I wonder if I'm maybe a little bit stupid in my dream state that I don't realize, or if my prefrontal cortex just gets downregulated to the point where even things like that makes logical sense. Maybe. Thank you for the wholesome cable. I miss the farm and I enjoy your new perspective and the missing. And that missing the old yet enjoying the new duality. And that's the title for today, technically, Carol, is what exactly was it? How can we have, how can we be dual and infinite at the same time? Or something like that. Which is technically a dual statement as well. And that's the trip that I've been going through, is this understanding of infinity slash what I feel my understanding of infinity is. It's not even close to the right understanding of it. But then at the same time, the fact that it has a duality nature to it. There's two sides to it. There's an ebb and flow to it. If you know, for instance, the way that data gets transferred over HDMI cables, and I know this feels like a hard right, but HDMI cables basically carry their signals with amplitudes of ones and zeros as well. So the more clear that the signal is, the more repetitive slash consistent the signal will be with its ebb and flow. But it has two ebbs and flows in that wire, and then it carries packets of data in between those pockets, those ebbs and flows. Whether or not it's a 1 or 0, it carries those pockets of information. And if you look at that, it looks like eyes. It looks like eyes, it looks like DNA. It literally is this way of communicating information. And we are fundamentally the same thing. We are these nodes of infinity, dual in our understanding of ourselves, being these small things in this large world, being a man or being a woman, being rich or being poor, being smart or being unintelligent, all of these dualities that get kind of forced upon us. And then as a result of these dualities, we get to experience the other side of infinity. But there has to be, at least within this plane of existence, for some reason, a duality within that as well. And it's much, and I'm trying to understand, and I don't think I'm supposed to, but here we are, having conversations about it nonetheless. Morning, Glory, morning, Red. Thank you for joining me, friend, just for you. Do I want to smoke for glory? I feel like I'm supposed to run into war or battle with a sword raised if I'm gonna smoke for glory. Maybe infinity. You know what? Since we're going hard, we're smoking for infinity. Cheers to you, friends. Infinity. I didn't bring myself water because I'm a glutton for punishment, it seems. Let's see how long I last. Oh goodness. Oh, did you miss the roof? You're so full of crap. Aren't we all, Joshua? Until we go back to the bathroom and then we start the whole process over again. Is this lucid dreaming? It wasn't. Unfortunately, it wasn't lucid dreaming. And I think it would be better, Zenga. Oh, would it be better? Okay. Let me run you through what I just thought about. So I started this journey, rather, if you will, to try and lucid dream, and I did a bunch of research, and apparently, getting a dream journal, writing things down is a great way to get yourself into the active pursuit of lucid dreaming. First and foremost, it allows you to remember things a little bit more accurately, because within your dream state, you're going to be a little bit more cognizant that you might need to recall this information. So as you're dreaming and as you wake up from this dreaming state, you have a little bit more to write down. And then the second apparent caveat with this, the more you do it, the more you realize that you are in a dream state, and as a result of that, have the ability to go into lucid dreaming. But the deeper I got into doing that, and the better I got at lucid dreaming, the more disruptive, I would say, I became in my astral form, if that makes any sense. Like, I would be in a dream, for instance, and I can give you an example of one that instantly comes to my mind. It was like a type of Hunger Games-esque thing. Bunch of us trying to kill one another. They had these wrecks that had a bunch of weapons and stuff inside of them, and we were all running to these wrecks and trying to get ourselves weapons. I was trying to get myself an assault rifle, and I was fumbling with the magazine, and people were shooting at me, and then I realized, wait a second, I didn't kill people. It was some sort of realization like that. And I walked outside and I saw what was going on, and then I just yeeted. I just left the dream essentially. And then I felt within myself, within that moment, I was yeah, don't need to dream about all of that stuff anymore. And then when I woke up, I had this genuine feeling of I was invested in a narrative, in a story that was being told. And then the actor, if you will, decided that he wasn't having it anymore and just decided to yeet out of the scene or out of the movie that I was watching. And then upon realizing that I was technically, or I could potentially take things away from myself, take things away from my subconscious's ability to teach me something, maybe take me through an experience that I need to have by lucid dreaming, I stopped. So have you had a good experience with lucid dreaming? I would love to hear your feelings on it as well, actually. How do you miss what you spend time with daily? Do you miss the roof? Cable spends time with the roof daily? I mean, the only information that is being presented to me upon myself asking that question is the roof that kind of shakes when you're punching your punching bag, and then you have to spend time with the roof to make it shake less. That's literally the only information that I can pull. Okay, but what are you talking about, dude? What type of hallucinations or streams you in? No, I'm completely sober. Well, I did smoke a bong of marijuana right now, so technically I'm not completely sober. But I am not under the influence of a hallucinogen right now, if that's the question you're asking. But apparently, I've been kind of wacky my entire life. When I learned this, I think when I was 18, I learned for the first time that not everybody has persistent closed-eyed visuals. As a kid, as a little kid, I had these extremely terrible nightmares. Well, I considered them nightmares because I didn't understand they were just visualization. But I had these dark imaginings every single time, from the ages of about 4 to 9, and that's only because I can remember those years. I would close my eyes to go to bed, and then the first thing I would see would be these skulls slash bone-esque, skinless slash bony type of entities, if you will. They looked like they were suffering, and in their suffering they had these grotesque faces they would pull, and they would come into my field of vision, exit my field of vision, and it was terrifying as a child. I didn't know how to deal with that, and I considered or believed that it was influenced by the stuff I was watching. And the reason I was believing that is because every single time I would watch something that was against my age restriction or something like that, I would have these terrible experiences. And I realize now that it was just me placeboing myself into what I conceived hell or death or something bad that was going to happen to me was supposed to be. So I was doing that to myself. Even as a child, I was fucking myself up by guilting myself into these understandings of what was going to happen to me. And then growing up, fortunately, I stopped doing that, and it just has continued. It still continues. I just wish there was a better way for me to be able to get the things I experience internally outside. Technology might help us with that. Practice is what's going to be the best way for now. Descriptions can help. I think of descriptions of trying to talk about these things as, imagine an idea as like a three-dimensional object. Words and phrases and understandings and types of analogies would be like putting paper mache over top of this invisible 3D object, trying to build a full picture of what it actually is. Is this the Matrix? It might be, like statistically, it might be more like the Matrix than the world we think we're in right now. Because there's only one of two alternatives. Either humanity goes extinct soonish, or we eventually create realities that are indistinguishable from ours. And with the scale of our universe, the fact that potential rendered realities would be the majority reality, rendered or like experienced would be the likely case. So we could be in the Matrix. But does that change any of it? I still believe that fundamentally, even if we are in the Matrix, the most important part of all is to spend time with one another in a way that we appreciate. Either the time spent personally, or they appreciate the time we spend with them. And that is like this social currency that we get to exchange with one another. And it's infinitely more valuable than money or something like that. Oh, this is just weed smoking stream. I get it now. Thank you, the average citizen. I'm happy that you feel you're all caught up, my friend. Thank you for joining us, genuinely. Are you South African? I am. What up, fam? Airborne Army guy. It's been forever, my brother. It's so nice having you here. You're saying I'm moving off the grid. I have no reception. Are you getting Starlink, or are you just going without reception? Like, are you going that off the grid? Airborne Army guy. I'm in complete support of you, no matter what your choice. I just want to know more. Love you and thank you for joining us, friend. Hey, Toasty, good morning, brother. Good to see your face. Good to see yours as well. Man, pal, it's nice to have you here, dude. We've had some cool conversations today. We were talking about infinity. Ooh! And yeah, unfortunately, there is no finishing when it comes to talks of infinity. Like, I think maybe that's the reason we got so fascinated with infinity in the first place. Is because it quite literally, on a fundamental level, is something that you can never stop talking about. And if, for instance, you think of us as this slowly progressing, more and more challenge-seeking species, as soon as we conquered language and we figured out how to properly communicate and identify things, concepts like infinity would be the next most attractive thing, because we're like, oh, okay, we've talked about pillows, we've talked about blankets, we've talked about clouds, now let's talk about infinity. Right, that has to be the logical step. Thank you for the little seeing up, but again, man, look at that scruff, look at it. No Shave November unironically happened without my intention to. I came over to Christian's place and I didn't bring anything to shave with, so we're going for as long as we need to. Toasty in red, thank you, friends, for saying hi to one another. Yeah, like the cool thing, I don't know if it's really cool, but the interesting thing, let's say, rather, Toasty, to me, the fact that our understanding of infinity has a dualistic nature to it. No matter how you look at it, there are smaller and larger sets of infinity, and there technically can be no other set of infinity outside of the set of infinity that contains all infinities. You know? And in that way, there's even more duality within infinity as an understanding as well. Technically, on an existential level, infinity can mean that all of those infinities are captured within one infinity that could be seen as a dimension above this dimension. And then what does that mean for infinities? Does our infinity let's think about it in the shape as well. You know, like we think of infinity as this beautiful 8 loop that has sides that are the exact same, you know, perfectly dual, if you will. But what if the one side is extremely small and the other side is extremely large? Is that still an infinity? Just a very small set of infinity witnessing a very large set of infinity? And is that what we are actively right now? See, like that's you know, that's the understanding of infinity that constantly is like messing with me a little bit. I did so much gardening yesterday. I have happy succulents and coreopsis flowers. I for a second wanted to read cordyceps, which is a type of fungi. Coreopsis flowers, and my garden is just so bright and happy. Ooh, I didn't know. Man, I could be. So as soon as I closed my eyes, I saw this big beam that was supporting a crown. It looked like a crown, but it looked like a two-dimensional crown. So like a thin slab with these little points on it, and then it had these emanating rings of energy coming off of it. Could be a flower, technically. A flower that also symbolizes a crown in my head. I'm gonna be back in a second. I'm just gonna get myself a glass of water. Ugh. Ugh. There we go. Thank you for holding the space for me. Genuinely. Red says, I'm sick and I had to quit my job, but the prospect of a new start propels me. I'm here with you, Red. Thank you so much for sharing that with me, for being willing and vulnerable enough to do so. Did you quit your job because you're sick? Did they not want to pay you sick leave? Is it something like that? Or did you have to quit because you know you won't be able to work your job, and as a sign of respect you did that? And you saying that you're being propelled by new prospects, please do tell. You know, is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to doing? Maybe a hobby that you want to pursue as a career? Anything that you would like to share? We would like to think about that together, my friend. Send you some more love. Did it feel good to quit? It feels good not to have to do it. Yes, I completely feel that. Ooh, God, thank you for joining us, my friend. It's so nice to have you here, genuinely. Ooh, infinity eyes. I see. I see you, God, I see you. Technically, you know, right here in this moment, me and you staring at one another, this is an infinity loop that has been created. You cannot escape it. And even if we're not in this space anymore, and this goes for every single one of us sitting here, friends, even if we're not in this space anymore, we're still looking at the same infinity. Even though it feels dual, even though it might be, it's still a set that you're a part of, and a fantastic part of, I might add. A part that literally influences, shifts. What's the word that's coming into my mind? Refracts the rest of this reality. Meld, did you rip the water pipe? Yes, I did. Yes, I did, Gob. And just because you tempted fate, I'll have to do it again. I'll fucking do it again, Gob. I'll do it again. Oh man, it has been so nice, dude. I haven't had access to a water pipe since I came to Christian's place, and it makes the smoke so much cooler, which you can't hate on. Yeah, can't hate on cool smoke, and it's a lot less as well. Technically, you smoke like a third of a joint, but you do it in a single puff, which might be less than ideal, but it definitely is again a larger set of infinity. I quit because it wasn't enough pay or the position that I wanted. Being sick wasn't why I quit, but influenced me. They wanted me to do selling, which is not my forte. Whew, I respect that and I feel that completely, right? Yeah, sales, selling. It really does kill you, right? Especially if you have to do it in person. I mean, doing it on the phone can be just as painful, but unless it's a little bit distant. When you're trying to do it in person, you have to pretend to be something you're not. In the same way, you have to pretend to be something you're not on the phone as well. I respect you completely, Red. I'm sure whatever comes next is going to be exactly what you need. Do you have any idea of what position you want then? If you would be willing to share, I would love to hear. Oh boy, here we go again. I'm looking forward to the next opportunity that comes your way, Red. I'm hoping for the same, Gob. Yeah, Gob. Like, I mean, we're not gonna chillax, dude. I know sometimes I want to, or people want me to, but chillaxing is not a part of the possibility. We have to keep going. Conscious evolution. You know, those two words probably mean something infinitely different for every single one of us. Conscious evolution. What does conscious evolution mean to you? If you think about it, if you feel it, do you think it's something that we're capable of? Do you think it's something we're going to be capable of? Do you know you're capable of it and you already have tricks up your sleeve, if you will, to make that a reality? Please do share. I'm more than willing to hear. And to you, Gob, infinity was the first bong hit or water pipe hit intention. Duality, maybe. Do I want to smoke for duality? Christian would be saying yes. Hear him whispering in my ear. Infinity and duality, maybe infinity and balance. Yeah. Technically, balance within infinity is a duality, but I like that more as an understanding than just going straight duality. So, balance it is. Do balance, friends. Whew. Thank you, friends. I have a degree in health, so I'm going to try to go that route. And I'll honestly take anything. I applied to any WFH. No clues coming up of what that acronym stands for. Job I think I can do. I've worked for many types of companies. Red, I'm sure you're going to be 100% fine. Don't worry. You have the experience, you've put in the hours, you have a degree, you're a lovable person. It's just a matter of time. Maybe taking this time to actually work from home. Thank you so much. I don't know there's an acronym for that now, but I guess there should be. Thank you. WFH, work from home. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's saved. You got this. Red, you absolutely got this. That thing looks interesting, right? I mean, technically I have to use a soda pop bottle. Did I just say soda pop? Goodness. I'm being Americanized actively. We would call this a Fanta bottle in Afrikaans. And it has like this little long glass down stem. Then it has a hole that you can pull through there. It does work pretty well, Toasty. I'm not going to hate on it actually. Very, very nice. Been appreciating it. Man, I'm genuinely trying to fathom how vastly different every single person's understanding of infinity is. There's an infinite amount of variability in that as well. I'm curious if it's a metric to something. Maybe a metric to curiosity. The more capacity you have to experience a set of infinity, the more curious you become about other sets of infinity. But that just sounds like egotistical nonsense as well. Who knows? Where are you from? I'm from South Africa, dude. South Africa. This country is beautiful. You know, it has so much potential. There's people around here that have the most beautiful hearts, wonderful visions for the future. Biggest man-made forests in the world. Cities with a lot of trees. But then at the same time we have very extreme corruption. And it's been hurting this country. And it's pushing not only, you know, my friends are already leaving, but it's pushing me to leave as well. And I don't necessarily want to, but I also feel like there is not a lot of choice being left on the table. I do believe that things can get better. I hope they do. Good morning, hey Candice! My husband and mine's birthday, and oh goodness. So it is Candice's and Teddy's birthday today, both of theirs, and it happens to be their wedding anniversary. Like, how's that for finding the perfect woman that shares your birthday and then marrying her on both of your birthdays, so that you just have to remember a single date. You just get one big present. Am I being too simplistic? Masculine simplistic? I'm sorry. And that's the nitty gritty. That's pretty nifty. It's very fun. I'm really appreciating it. Have you been smoking bongheads with me, Steve? I hope that you've been having good times as well, man. Do let me know. Thank you for joining me. I'm thinking, like, when I'm talking to you now, at least in this moment, I'm thinking to the last photo that you sent me of you and your loved one, and like the mountains behind you and big smile on your face, dude. It's so clear in my head. Where in SA are you from? Technically, I was born in a town called Klerksdorp, and then from Klerksdorp I went to Allen Ridge. From Allen Ridge I went to Rustenburg. From Rustenburg I went to Groblersdal. And then my parents basically lived there and still live there up to this point as well. Some abstract thoughts exceed your mental abilities. Yes, they do. Yes, they do, mixed to death. But they don't exceed my ability to still ask those questions. You know, even if I can't answer them right now, maybe asking them can stimulate both of us to potentially being able to answer them at some point. Who knows? Who knows? We might as well try. Stir that pot. My nightmares include tornadoes. That is my stress dream. Tornadoes coming for me in the distance. Like, the first thing that comes to my mind is to say that is weird or that is interesting, but that's not what I want to come off as. Like, I completely respect your fear of tornadoes. What's interesting to me about it is the fact that you in America have tornadoes, and in South Africa we have absolutely none. So I've never even gotten close to being scared. I'm not even theoretically scared of tornadoes right now, because it's literally like I don't even have the frame of reference. You've probably experienced very close to your proximity, the devastation that tornadoes can cause. And to me, that's just like a complete, I don't have that perspective whatsoever. Whew. Thank you for sharing that with me, Red. And again, it's also one of those that you feel so powerless against. What can you do against a tornado other than find a place to hide? Toasty is sending his happy birthdays and happy anniversaries, and me too. I'm so sorry, guys. I completely spaced. Thank you, genuinely, for joining us. Thank you for sharing the space with us. Send my regards to Teddy, please. I love you. Thank you for joining us, genuinely. Hey, Infamous One, thank you for the wholesome. I appreciate you, and I love you as well. How have you been? How's life been treating you? Has it been fair? Have you learned something? If you have learned something, what were you willing to share? I'm trying to ask myself that question now as well. What has been something significant that I've learned recently? Just how valuable where you are is, no matter where that is. Whew. Like, this came up as a very real conversation on Friday, and this has been a reminder / a truth that has been repeated within the last few days up to now as well, is that it's not so important or so essential to go somewhere else, and I was just talking about the fact that we might have to leave this country. It's not so important as to where you go as much as it's important as to where you are right now. How far you had to come to be where you are right now. And we have all of these guilt systems that we attach to our own existence. And in a way, it can help us keep being pushed forward, if you will, but in a lot of other ways, it hurts us. We ruin our own life experience because we expect things of ourselves, or society has groomed us to expect certain things of ourselves. Christian has a deployment night. Excuse my jargon, something like that. Like, he has to stay at the office until like potentially 10 p.m. to like go through some sort of deployment for like a company. They kind of do it in the late night hours. So he's gonna be, away for most of the day. And the way we've been at this, if you will, is kind of like a schedule, it's like a frequency as to how things go. And usually by now, he would have been here. And that just, the awareness of that, the fact that it isn't that way is something as well. My girls are watching you. Look, it's the dancing guy with big smiles. Love you, kids. Thank you. I feel like I can't be called a dancing guy as much anymore. Like, I should be called the talking guy right now, and then I need to start upping my dances so I can find some sort of equilibrium at some point. Thank you, though. Thank you for sharing that with me, Candice. Genuinely, love this is true. Salty? Oh, nothing like drinking a warm cup of coffee and listening to Melt More in the morning. Salty, don't you flatter me, you. Oh, stop it. Thank you, friend. I appreciate you sharing this space with me. How have you been? How's life been? I hope that you slept well. Did you dream anything? If you did, feel free to share. I would love to know. Toasty saying, how was your trip, my friend? Been a couple of days since, right? It has been. And it's been... Whew. Like, that's technically where today's topic came from as well, Toasty. Literally just this understanding / feeling of infinity that's now ever present in my life since that experience again. It was the most of infinity I've ever experienced, to say it in the most brass of terms. And I don't feel there's undoing something like that. And it's not something to be concerned about, It's just something that really takes your perspective to even more levels. And it's a bit, yeah, it's much. It definitely is much. But it also is actively informing. So there is that counterbalance to it. Because fundamentally, what that means, or how that happens, or why that happens, I believe at least, is that we have these smaller sets of infinity that we actively experience. You know, technically, we're seeing an infinite world. Like, no matter how far you look, you will never see the edge of this universe. You are smack dab in the middle of infinity, just as you are. And then technically, you could go into sets of infinity within your cell phone, for example. Literally, at some level, everything you're perceiving could just be these three massive building looking things that are lighting up green, red, or blue. And that's literally your little pixels, individual pixels. And that would be a set of infinity you would have if you were standing at that scale in that environment. It would be again infinity and infinity down. And then you can just keep doing that. You can go deeper and deeper and deeper. And no matter how deep you go, you'll be in the middle of infinity. You're just going to make that eye a little bit small. It's too much. Like how are we supposed to just accept that? How are we supposed to be like, yeah, yeah, infinity, yes, infinity. What? No, I can't understand. How many different entities have we been as well? How many different scales has consciousness played? Man, no. Okay, I'm gonna stop. We have a flower in South Africa that's called a protea. It has these cup-like layers to it, and then on top of those cup-like layers, it has these long little frills that stick off from these cups, and then they overlay one another until it becomes like almost like a brush-like tip. That's pretty much what I saw as soon as I closed my eyes. And then a couple. Yeah, and also Toasty, it feels like, you know, the whole visualization thing has been as well, which is also kind of nice. Was anything brought to your consciousness? Something was, but I feel almost shy to share here, dude. Like, I think, you know, to put it in the most rash of terms, not just because I feel I can be honest with you friends, and I feel hiding anything is fundamentally me pretending to be something that I'm not. There was a genuine moment within that experience where me and my friend's sexuality was coming into question, you know. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but that genuinely happened, where we were like staring at each other, and in that moment realizing that we were both just these pieces of infinity staring back at one another. There was a genuine in love, if you will, ness with one another. We were in love with one another. But on a biological level, there wasn't a sexual attraction. So coming to terms or to an understanding of the fact that you can genuinely be in love with anyone, be it masculine or feminine, doesn't necessarily have to mean you want to procreate or have sexual intercourse with them. There's a differential, there's a separation between what that true love, that unbounding, judging, you know, true unconditional love. Like, there is no condition that needs to be met, no condition that needs to be fulfilled as a result of just love. And it wasn't something that I thought I would be ready for. if that makes sense, Toasty. And it was something that I genuinely spent hours thinking about. Literally, like an excess of 7 hours, basically. I was just like, I spent thinking actively about this. Because we basically went to our rooms to go to bed at around 11 ish. 11 ish. I only got to bed at like 3 a.m., was up at like 6:25. Christian only got up at like 10. And the time that we like spent apart, there was this active involvement in my questioning of myself, my rules, my interpretations of what things are supposed to be, how I want to perceive myself, how I believe love can be shared. And it was it was a lot, dude. It was you. Again, it was a set of infinity that I've never quite so fully understood. I wasn't scared by it. I wasn't intimidated by it. I just was very much flabbergasted. The best of ways. So anything with your consciousness, like the interstellar fifth dimensional scene. Almost like that, yeah, pretty much, pretty much. It is worthwhile to breathe into that moment. I've been there, and yeah, it's overwhelming, but at least we know it's there. Some people go their whole lives without it. Shaking my head. And yet, that is a set of infinity. God, to not know of that set of infinity, weirdly enough, is another set of infinity, dude. So, it's also divine. It's also okay. Jovan, Baldos, infamous red liquor. God, love you, friends. Love you, Jovan. Thank you so much for joining us. It's so nice to have you here. Squawk the real love. In love with, alongside someone that's experiencing love together and sharing that moment. It is real. Jovan, it was the most real thing I've ever experienced in my entire existence. More real than life. Literally. In that moment, it was more real than life. And that's concerning. You know, that was something I had to come to terms with, you know, and I felt like I was staring into the face of insanity at that point. And I was like, what the fuck? Whoa, 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 whoa. I was like the build up, and then I was like, okay, that's fine. It's okay. Amen. Thank you for sharing. That's beautiful. Thank you, my friends, for being open to hearing stuff like that. It can be so intimidating to share stuff like that because how is that supposed to be received? You know, I don't feel I can have that conversation with my parents, but fortunately, you friends are my parents. Yes, that's beautiful love. Sometimes just click with someone doesn't mean you're meant to bone them. I'm an eighth, exactly that, you know, and it was that kind of recognition. It was this feeling of being soulmates, but there was no need to, in your words, bone one another. Hey, Matthias, thank you for being here with me, friend. Walks into like, what the fuck is happening? Thank you for joining us, dude. How have you been, Matthias? Nice to have you, man. Love you. Wow, I want to hear more about this trip, dude. Honestly, it was like as I'm like trying to formulate some sort of words about it, like things are flashing through my head. Goodness. Basically, 4 hours of it, me and Christian were trained on one another. Like we just did not break eye contact, and that was also something that was quite surreal. There was an ongoing conversation and a back and forth recognition. And weirdly enough, Christian in this experience was let's talk about the duality of sanity, okay? In this experience, Christian was the insane one, you know? And as a result of that, I instantly recognized and assumed the role of the sane one. So I was, sitting in a composed way, listening and observing and sharing my thoughts with him as he was like raving, like literally describing, the formation of galaxies. It was that type of experience, reading poetry, play acting, literally going through these scenes, being dramatic. Oh man, being in some loops, there was definitely some loops where I was telling him the same thing over and over again. And it was this weird, him pretending to not know it, and then me being like, actually this. And him like, yes, of course. And it was this kind of like genuine play acting ridiculousness. It felt like we could have been, put on a stage and just like gone for the rest of the the night, if you will. It was just an amazing experience. Wonderful, genuinely beautiful, Toasty. Like something I would genuinely recommend for everyone. Dry, dry. It's so nice to have you here, my friend. Thank you for joining us again. How have you been? I'm doing pretty well. Getting a haircut today. Anything particular? Just like cutting the tips, getting like a comb over. Do you have a style in mind? Or are you just gonna go and say, cut my hair, and then you're gonna walk out of whatever you get? It's very brave of you to share that feeling you had with us. This is a safe space, and you just proved that. Harmony, this is what it's about, my friend. And it definitely was a part of inside of myself that was in some egoic way being like, oh no, what will they think? Like my ego being like, what will they think? And I'm like, bro, what does it matter? What does it matter? If anything, people can think that these things are okay to think. We have gotten so attached to this masculine understanding of what a man is supposed to be, what a man is supposed to feel, what a man is supposed to say and is allowed to say in whatever environment, that we literally rob ourselves, we steal from ourselves the potential to experience life more fully. And yeah, if anything, my sharing that is an encouragement of experiencing life more fully, friends. Every single one of us gets to do that. Just cleaning it up, I think. Nothing too serious, but we'll see when I get there, lol. Yeah, I'm just imagining now like this most ridiculous scenario of like dry story and being like, no, is it dry story? No, Matthias being like, oh yeah, nothing too serious, and then walks into there, and then he has like this side's completely shaved, has his hair like super spiked up, has these like intricate, maybe like fractal patterns shaved into his hair, and then has the super sick shades as he walks around, maybe like a doom soundtrack playing in the back. Nothing too serious. We'll see what I get. Love you, Matthias. I hope it goes well, my friend. My body has been hurting lately. Hopefully it will get better quickly. Anything in particular is being hurt by? Did you sleep improperly? Did you get hurt by stepping on something, or like misstepping, falling down potentially? Did you get hurt by exercising? What type of hurt is it, my friend? Maybe we can target it together, feel into it a little bit. One of the weirdest things that I've tried to do, or the sensations that I've had, is just feeling into pain as well. You realize it has just as much substance, just as much potential for experience as everything else in our experience. Our sight, our hearing. Pain is feeling on a more visceral way. And I'm not trying to encourage masochism? Sadism? Masochism? No, please. Definitely not. But if you are in pain, if it's something that your body, for instance, is imbuing you with, like be it a headache or be it like back pain or like a toothache, feeling into that type of pain can be, let me just rather say that, a very cool and surreal experience as well. I don't know if you can hear the birds, but there definitely are some birds here in the city as well, fortunately. One of the things that I've been feeling into is just listening to cars pass. You know, it becomes background noise so quickly. And yet every single one of those sounds is someone going somewhere to sustain something, you know, be it their job or relationship. Pretty much those two. Or a business, I guess, could be a third one, but it's just still a job. They have families, they have hardships. And technically it sounds like noise, you know, pink noise. Small set of infinity containing an infinitely larger set of infinity again. It's my back, and it's been hurt for a while. My job probably doesn't help it heal much either. Have you tried doing yoga? Dry story. And I feel like a little bit of a hypocrite for saying this, especially from where we came from the start of the year. But I came to Christian at the start of November, and we've been doing yoga, like strength yoga, basically, pretty consecutively and consistently. And I had very bad lower back pain problems. No more. Just flexing yourself and putting yourself in strenuous positions where you are required to kind of use your core has helped me feel so much better. And I hope that you feel better as well. I'm not saying do this, I'm just saying maybe. If you want to. I hope you feel better soon, my friend. Thanks, man. I get a reverse. I'll get a reverse mohawk. Goodness, Matthias. If you do, like, I'm in complete encouragement of whatever you want to do, but please send us a photo. Oh, man. Just wanted to drop it and say hi. Heather, thank you for saying hi, friend. Hi to you. Thank you for joining us, even for a second. Lamar, hope you're having a good day. I am, genuinely. I hope you're having a good day as well, my friend. Thank you for joining us. I've been so busy. I'm going to have to continue chilling like a fly on the wall while I get some work done. But know that I love and miss you guys. Hey Heather, we love and miss you as well, Jovan, and you're here, my friend. You're not required to do anything. You're not expected to be anything other than what you are right now. Thank you for sharing the space with us. Seems like less of a friendly spot to me now. Jobot seems to read what I said just fine and replies, so with my feelings hurt, I'll back out and I'll send you all love. Infamous one? That's the only message that I'm receiving in a while, my friend. We received your love you, but only now receiving more messages. We love you too, my friend. I'm sorry that you're feeling hurt. You're so welcome. Genuinely. We love you and we appreciate your presence. And friends, you don't have to be anything other than you are. You know, you already are a part of infinity. You already are a set of something that is unfathomably large. What more can be expected of you? You know, at least on a level of guilting yourself about things. Because you're doing as much as you can right now in this moment. And as long as you continue to do that, things are gonna get done. You know, so calm down, breathe, look around you. Listen to things, actually listen to things. Feel what your own fingers feel like. Feel something material. Feel your own hair. Feel your own skin. Become aware just of your present moment. And remember that this is why you're here. This right here is actually why we're here. We're expected to sustain this by a bunch of contrived means. But this right here is why we're here. Hey, Infamous. When we pass away, are we still infinite? I love crappy tuna. What a good question that is. In my opinion, and from the experiences I've had, I do believe so. He has been dead. And here you are, alive as ever, Susie. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend. It's nice to have you. So, when it comes to the passing away, and that as a potential for it to stop, I don't think of that as a possibility just because of the way we experience awareness as we do right now. I believe technically the awareness underlying all of our experiences, our brain, and as a result our thoughts, and then the thing constructing or constructed around it, our body, and then as a result also the ego that we form to go along with this body that we have. All of these things are just layers on top of the fundamental awareness that you are. And unfortunately, the thoughts, and then as a result of the thoughts, the stories you tell yourself of what you are, is only attached to your physical brain, because it only has memories and then as a result stories to tell you about who you are as a result of that physical brain. But your fundamental awareness doesn't need a story to be the awareness of. And I believe that fundamental awareness continues as a set of infinity even after your physical body perishes. But that is just me. I don't know anything. All I know is nothing ended while I was dead. That's for sure. For me too, Susie. For me too. Like literally, like when I had my attempts, that was literally my experience as well. I wasn't here though, and I woke up pretty angry, which was amusing because they thought I was yelling, "Why am I here?" as the hospital, but no, I meant it in this reality. Susie? Why? You do realize we're gonna have to do this anyway. You know, if you don't get to do it this round, you're gonna have to do it anyway. You're just gonna have to wait a few potential billion years to come around this way again, because that was so amazing and beautiful. It is, my friend, but it's not for us to experience yet. I feel we haven't earned it in some ways. You know, I feel like we have this set of infinity, this infinite amount of love to give in this world, and we should give it until our set of infinity becomes finite. And then as soon as it becomes finite, we go and back into another set of infinity, into our death state. But we have to go through our entire set of the infinity. Otherwise, we're going to limit our death state as well as a result of it. We're just going to have to turn back to complete the side. I was just sort of like back in the shithole. Oh no. You're supposed to be here, Susie. You're supposed to be here, my friend. We love you. We're supposed to be here. Know that. And I know that. And it's also dichotomy. I deal with it now. And I probably you too. They're going to be here and gone. I know, my friend. I go through the same thing actively. Technically, we are dying. You know, as soon as you're born, you are actively dying. And we live with that as a reality. But we have to let that process play out the way it's supposed to play out. The conversations we're still supposed to have. Susie, you know, we have one rule. We just have one rule here in the Meltmore streams, is that we do not die. You know, we keep showing up. We can be sad. We can be angry, hateful even. But we don't die. We keep showing up until we don't have any more show up to do, okay? And you don't even have to show up here. You can just show up for yourself. Don't die, friend. Kind of hard to say, just thinking about being dead. Then someone asks you what's in your mind. And yes, I agree with this rule. Okay, Susie? Only one rule. Don't die. Okay, please. Please, promise me. Please. I want to see you here again. We still have conversations to have, you know. Let's talk again in 20 years. We've gone through 20 years of experience. We've seen 20 years of stuff. Had 20 years of conversations. And then we get to have a conversation again. Don't you think that's going to be blessed? I died on accident, for the record, not on purpose. Okay. Whew! Thank you, Susie. Takes off my hat. Wipes away my sweat of relief. I think maybe like start at that. You were coming in hot. I love you, Susie. That's the truth. Fundamentally, no matter what, I love you, and I want you to know that. Thank you for easing my anxiety a little bit. We are alive as long as someone remembers us. Someone, even if it's not a someone physical in this plane of existence, you are remembered by the set of infinity. You know that you cannot escape what is, what was. So you will be forever remembered, and your love will transmit into infinity as well, Red Clicker. You are a good person. No, you, Susie. No, you. We just see what we have inside of one another. I'm just a mirror to you, my friend. Oh, Ninja! Hey, fam! Glad to see you all shining bright. Glad to see you, my friend. How are you doing? How's life been? Thank you for joining us. Thanks for your input. This is a good objective view. I'm happy you appreciate it with me, my friend. Like, please, hold it close to your heart if you feel this is a truth that you can live with. And, you know, try and live that way. Show people that it's possible. Thanks for sharing all that about your trip. That's intense. Thank you for listening, Toasty. Thank you, my friend. You are now the other set of infinity that gets to make this, you know, potentially, in my opinion, infinite experience even a larger set of its infinite experience. Good to see you, my dude. Shark Duck. It's good to see you as well, friend. Friends, I appreciate you so much for joining me here and sharing this space with me. I'm gonna say goodbye for today. Thank you. I love you. Love you so much, Jovan. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, my friend. Susie, if it's still you on that side, I love you. Don't die. Don't die. Keep going. Don't die, friends. I love you. Bye-bye.